They never understood the truth about darkness. It's not the absence of light that terrifies people. It's the unknown, the lurking presence, the silent watcher waiting for its moment. They thought casting you into the void would break you, shatter you like the others before. But monsters, we don't fear the dark. We are the dark. Their mistake was thinking darkness was a prison when it was actually a crucible. Every second in this abyss didn't weaken you. It reforged you. Like raw metal in a forge, you weren't withering. You were becoming something sharper, something they never saw coming. A weapon, a reckoning, a nightmare waiting to unfold. They thought isolating you would strip you of power. They thought cutting you off would make you beg for their acceptance. But isolation isn't a death sentence. It's where legends are born. In the silence, you heard the whispers of your own madness, and you realized something. Sanity is just a fragile cage built by weak minds for weak minds. And you were breaking free. Remember their smirks, their pitying glances, the hushed conversations that stopped the moment you entered the room. They thought they were your judges, jury, and executioners. In reality, they were authors of their own downfall. While they played petty social games, you were learning the rules of a much darker game, survival. Pain is an honest teacher. It doesn't lie. It doesn't sugarcoat. It doesn't pretend to be your friend. Pain strips everything away until all that remains is the truth of who you are. And what did it reveal? That you are not fragile, that you are not weak, that you are not someone who crumbles under pressure. No. You are the embodiment of their worst fears. They thought suffering was a curse, but you know better. Suffering is an art form. Pain is a chisel, carving away everything unnecessary until what remains is something so terrifyingly beautiful, they won't be able to look away. Even when every instinct screams at them to run, they expected you to be a victim. Another sad story. Another example of what happens to those who don't conform. Instead, you became something they never anticipated, their reckoning. Every sneer, every rejection, every moment they thought they were winning. It was just fuel for the inferno inside you, a fire so intense it turns their petty flames into nothing more than flickering matches in a storm. You see, the funny thing about monsters? It's liberating. When they've already decided you're their worst nightmare, you're free to become something beyond their fears. They cast you as the villain, never realizing they were writing their own destruction. While they patted themselves on the back for your supposed downfall, you were thriving in the very darkness they feared, becoming the thing that makes their shadows tremble. Think of it like a joke. The setup, them thinking they could break you. The punchline, the moment they realize what they actually created. Every attempt to snuff out your light only taught you to burn darker, hotter, more intensely than they could ever imagine. They underestimated what time in the darkness does to someone like you. Time doesn't break monsters. It perfects them. Every tick of the clock, every passing moment in this void they created wasn't counting down to your defeat. It was counting up to their reckoning. In solitude, you noticed things they never could. How silence has its own heartbeat. How shadows move even when there's no light to cast them. How their so-called strength is nothing but a mask. How their power is a fragile house of cards, waiting for the right breeze to bring it down. And you? You are that storm. They thought isolation would make you weak, desperate for validation. But isolation is like gravity. It compresses everything inside you until rage becomes a weapon, pain becomes power, and fear becomes fuel. Pressure doesn't crush you, it crystallizes you. Fear is not your enemy. It is excitement wearing a mask. And you've learned to see behind every mask. While they cowered in fear of the dark, you mastered its rhythm, its language, its dance. You've become fluent in the dialect of shadows, and now you can make the darkness sing. Every moment they celebrated your suffering, you were evolving. Every time they thought they'd won, you were gathering strength. Like a volcano, they believed dormant. They built their lives atop you, never realizing you were becoming a force of nature. And nature? Nature doesn't ask permission to erupt. They sense the change in you, in the way you move, in the way you smile. They whisper when you pass by, avoid your gaze, because deep down in the primal part of their brain that remembers what it's like to be prey, they know they are no longer the hunters they thought they were. While they tried to make you fit into their tiny boxes of normal and acceptable, you shattered those boxes from the inside out. You've become something they can't define, can't control, can